Hello, everybody. Welcome to this brand new feature of a show. It's never been done before for us, but we're here on a Monday night of all times. And yes, it's very strange. However, I'm here. Mr. Hooley's here. And it's an exciting show. And already on the chat is lighting up. That means, we are very much live. I should really start the show because it's just all rambling. But we are live. So please share this feed right now so people can get involved. What was that noise, Chris?
That's just me putting a cup down.
Under the stairs. So please share this around and please engage and comment and hello to you guys. We've got a great show coming up. It's a very short one compared to our normal shows, and it's for a very good reason. It's called there's a name for this, Chris, is there?
No, it's book launch day, and it's Ross Young's book launch day.
Ross Young's book launch day. I can't even get it out. I had a tooth taken out today, guys, and my mouth's still a bit rare. So that's probably why I can't speak. Normal inability to speak anyway. So should we get Russ on?
We should indeed. It's his book launch day after all.
What's up, fellas? Hello. It's Ross. He's not there yet. There he is. Hello, Ross.
Hello.
Welcome to Mr. Ross Young.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Thank you. How are you, Ross? Today is the day that all writers wait for. They sit in the dark, they write for hours and hours on end, and then they release their book into the world. So how do you feel?
After sitting in the dark for hours and hours on end, I've finally reached my release. Yes. No, it's good. It's a really good feeling to have it out there after this long. It's been a really, really long time coming, this book. So I'm really glad that it's out there finally. But it's great, and at the same time it's weirdly deflating's not the right word, but you're not done with waiting, because now it's like, okay, it's out there, and you go, oh, what do I do now? Okay, I have arrived. Thanks, Mario. I was here all along.
How are the lads? The lads are good, I think. This book, Ross, it's been very highly anticipated by a lot of people, especially in the writing community. So, your first book has gone down very well, and some great comments come in from that. So, was there an expectation on your shoulders to get this second book right?
I think probably more from myself. I mean, 9 years since I actually released Dead Heads. So that's a really, really long time, and I'm a very different writer, I think, in some ways. So matching that tone, it's a really bad idea to wait that long between books if you're writing in the same world. And also, not just that, but you've got to hold on to those characters and things in between that length of time. Luckily for me, I wrote about 80 different versions of the book and kept throwing them in the bin, so I never really left it. But then problems come with that as well, because you almost go, your mouth really isn't working, is it? You almost lose track of what you have put in. So I actually started afresh. Thanks. Only almost?
Very
not trying hard enough. It was tough to be that long between books, and there was a lot of pressure on myself, but I don't think there was. It definitely would not have happened, I don't think, without the writing community. Because I hadn't given up writing. I was still writing a lot, but I'd almost given up writing for an audience other than myself. And given how weird Deadheads is and how weird Get Dead is, you can imagine how weird it gets when I stop thinking about other people reading it. So yeah, it basically, I think that it only happened because people started to say that they liked Deadheads. And as I was saying to you guys earlier, because I have no clue about marketing and I had no way of reaching a readership and stuff like that, it made a huge difference to me. So I really came back to Twitter about 12 months ago, and it made a huge difference to me. So it's out, and like Chris has read some of it, Hale has read some of it.
Sorry, wrong one.
Just creepy, Halo, just creepy. The special stalker.
She says, we need your juice brain, Ross. Don't stop writing. And Mario says, we love you, Ross. So you got a good fan base, Ross.
So, Ross, you've got a great fan base, and some of us have started reading Get Ted Dead already. But for those people who are watching and listening, that maybe they're discovering you for the first time and they're watching this going, who are these three guys and who's this guy? What do you say to them about your book and what's it about?
Okay, so Gloomwood is the afterlife. It's obviously a fantasy afterlife, and well, it might not be. I don't know. Who does? But it's the afterlife. It's the Grim Reaper's afterlife, and there's a little bit more of a explanation as to why people end up there. It isn't completely given away, but there's a bit more of an explanation of it in Get Ted Dead. So Get Ted Dead is the story of a teddy bear. It's actually another Detective Blunt story, really, because he's the main character through it all, who's a miserable detective living in the afterlife or dying in the afterlife. And Ted is alive, which is a problem for everybody in the afterlife because everyone's supposed to be dead. So everybody wants to kill Ted, and that's basically the premise. And we've got lots of characters coming in, as I'm a little bit of a reputation for throwing in a lot of characters into books, and we've got the devil coming in there. We've got a lot more with the Grim Reaper going on. Obviously, we're following Blunt and lots of different side characters, and it's all about what's going to happen, how or are they going to be able to kill this teddy bear? And why is he there in the first place? So there's a lot of questions, and I even tried to answer some of them, which is nice. But yeah, it's weird. It's very weird, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun, and hopefully people will think it's a lot of fun. But it's definitely on the humorous vein of things.
Ron says, I love how Ross says he only came on Twitter a year ago. He has 15,000 followers, and yet he thinks no one reads his books. It's not been bad, Ross. It's been bad.
Okay, in fairness, I was on Twitter since 2011, but I only came onto it for a bit, and then I left, and then I came back on it about this time last year. Actually, for NaNoWriMo, I came back onto it this time last year.
You don't have to defend it, Ross. It's fantastic.
No, I do. I feel attacked.
Well, they do say absence makes the heart grow fonder. So you gave people a little taste, and then you disappeared. All the followers mounted up, and then you came back to what, 15,000? All going, please come back, Ross. We need your juiciness.
Yeah, it definitely didn't happen like that, but I'll pretend. That'll make me feel better.
Hopefully, it's the same for Deadheads or the return of Deadheads. So Halo says Detective Blunt is my spirit animal.
Which is frightening.
I attack Ross with love, he says. So the question is now that you've got the second book out there. Is the story in your eyes, without giving things away? Obviously, have you tied this up now, or is there scope for you to expand this open?
I think, and I'd love to have this feedback from people when they're finished. I wrote it as, in my head, as a standalone. It's a continuation, but it stands alone. Deadheads, I think, stands alone. It's got a teaser at the end of it for what might come, and there is a teaser at the end of, it's like Marvel copied me, basically. Okay, a little end of credit scenes. There's a little teaser at the end of this about what might come as well, but it's a completely different story every time, and that's intentional. I'd really like people to be able to pick up any book that's set in Gloomwood and then go, I wonder what else has happened here before, without needing to know. But we'll see, because actually doing that is quite difficult when you're working in the same world with some of the same characters as you've used before. Stuff has to happen to them, so they're not the same people in every book. But people might want to know how that happened to them, but they won't know the answers to the previous book. And then this book, you won't need to know what happened to read the next book. That's completely intentional. I don't want there to be a point where you go, right, okay, that's the end of this, because I'm very, very selfish, and I want to be able to write more in that universe.
So Ross, I'm about 12% of the way through this book so far, and I'm not going to give anything away, but
it's quite specific. 12% into the book.
Well, it does tell you on Kindle. I'm not reading it on a paperback yet, so it does tell me exactly. But yeah, I'm about 12% of the way through, and without giving anything away, there's a lot of characters. In terms of every chapter so far feels like there's a new character. Now, how did you go about writing that because obviously you've got so many characters already, and managing those characters, managing those storylines, tying them all together, I should imagine it's quite a difficult task for a writer. So what was your writing process like for this book?
I did a lot more planning for this book than I did when I wrote Deadheads, and a lot of it comes down to revisions and following the path, the story arc for each character, and seeing where they intersect. And there are certain points where I deliberately like to jump around. So as Chris has said in the past about trying to see it in your head. If you were to have a film of one of my books, there'd be a lot of scene changes of stuff that's going on, and it all comes together. And that's how I like to write, because I like to see what I like to think of. Oh, awesome! I like to think of as building towards the end, basically. So everyone's going to have a piece to play, a part to play in it, and we've got to build towards that. But there are also characters there I just want to know what's going on. So it is quite fluid, but there was a lot more planning with this one, as in I wanted certain things to happen and certain people needed to be in certain places. But because my characters are essentially dicks, it's hard to get them where you want them to be without, it's like babysitting them. Okay, that you're here and I need to get you over here. What's got to make that person get all the way over there? Because no one's going to do it by choice, and that's a lot of it. So I can only put things in their way to get them there. I can't go, and then they just decided to go here. It's never going to happen. So yeah, it is quite organic. But I did work more with beat sheets this time, which we mentioned a couple of weeks ago when you were talking to somebody, to know when I was hitting certain points as I went through it. It's not that straightforward. There's a lot of how the book gets written is about what can happen, what can happen to cause these things, what are the motivations in the first place, which sounds like really complicated, but really I'm writing a silly fantasy comedy, which is supposed to make people laugh. So there's also the all important of where can I put this joke in, which is more important than anything else. It's not really, but the jokes are important. So it's complicated, yeah, but it's messy. That's how I work, messy.
So Ross, what I love about your writing is your ability to make people laugh and to make your reader laugh in moments where they really shouldn't be laughing because the topic is quite serious. And I really enjoyed, particularly because I was reading it in work today, chapter 1 with Blunt and the situation that he ends up in. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it because it's only chapter 1 and you can give a little bit away, or if you just want to leave it obviously to the reader's imagination and for people to buy it now and go and find it and read chapter 1 themselves.
I'm pretty sure you can read chapter 1 for free on the sample. Go and read the sample. Yeah. That was dangerous. There were actually a few things that in the editing process I took it out, right. because my sense of humor can be quite dark, and also I think that it's a personality thing that when something serious is going on, I'll just try to make a joke instead, because I don't really want to face the seriousness of anything because I'm a child. So that comes across a lot. And I also think that when I'm already writing in the afterlife, it could be pretty dark and depressing. And occasionally people have picked up Deadheads and gone, oh, this is depressing, because they've not seen that it's supposed to be fun. So that first scene was, I suppose it could be a little bit risky, but it's meant to be silly. Everybody's already dead. So that's really, hold on to that when you're reading the book. I'm not going to say what happens in that scene. I like that scene, but just go and read the sample. It's like 2 minutes of your time, and then you can go.
People can read it right now. So, read it right now, and then you'll be involved in our conversation.
Yeah. Sorry, apologies. Mario on the chat has said, "I love the idea that some are in the same world. They're in the same world, and the books are standalone but related." Was that an issue for you to write? Was it like a difficulty that trying to write in the same world but try and keep it standalone? Was that like a technical issue for you to do?
No, not really, because I think, and you disagree with me by all means, but I think that Deadheads does finish. I think that there's tiny loose ends there, and there's lots of, I wonder what happens to the characters later and stuff like that. But I don't think there's any really big questions where you're going, well, that wasn't answered at all. There are, but there aren't. There are questions about the world, but not about the actual story. So in Deadheads, the whole arc is there, and I think that's got a pretty strong resolution. At the end of it, although some people complain it happens too quickly, but at the end of it, quite a strong resolution.
Don't they always?
I'm trying really hard not to. And then, so starting again, if you like, it was coming back to those people, and it's a very different story. And coming back to it wasn't too difficult. But what was really, really difficult, and this is a very helpful piece of advice for anyone who's as stupid as me, don't write the blurb for the book you haven't written yet and put it in your first novel. Okay? That's a really bad idea, because I really put myself in a really tricky situation where I'd have lots of ideas. There are loads more ideas, but I couldn't write them until this book was finished. I hope you mean what I just said and not my book.
No, he didn't mean that. He also asked, what did you do differently with this book launch compared to the first launch? Lessons learned. Is there anything different you did from launch day one?
Launch day one, bear in mind that was 2011. So it was a very different world in terms of ebooks and publishing and stuff like that. And it was actually around the time when there was a bit of a boom in terms of people realizing that this was all out there and stuff like that. At the time I was working with somebody who just finished a PhD where they'd come to the conclusion that ebooks wouldn't work, which was great. And it was in some ways a bit of it's like the Wild West in terms of getting what you do, how it all works. So there was no formatting tips and stuff like that. So doing all that stuff has changed a lot. It's a lot more pleasant doing that stuff now. There's a lot more help available to you. But what did I do differently? I didn't do anything last time. I just went there's my book. And then I told a few people, and very nicely, they told a few other people. So I was on one podcast, and I maybe did a little bit of advertising. I can't really remember, but it just didn't go very well. But I'm still not very good at that. I'm terrible at that. But what I did do was I'm on Twitter a lot more. I'm on Twitter every day for the last year. I've posted at least 2 shorts in terms of VSS type prompts on there about Beezy and Grimm, who are quite important characters in this book. And they get some interest of people. People like seeing what's going on with them. So it's that kind of thing of being a presence that I think has made a big difference. Being on Twitter and making those connections and that community is really important. And there's a lot of people who've picked up my book from here and have really liked it. So they've been waiting for this book. So I've been able to put out teasers. I've been able to put out little animations about what's going on and things like that. And it's about building that. What I was in real risk of, I think, was dragging it out for too long. So I was starting to feel a lot of pressure, which wasn't really from other people, but you've got to keep a promise. I have this book coming. Here's a little teaser, and I'm going, oh shit! I was going to cut that whole scene. Now I'm going to have to go back to that and see what am I doing the right thing. If I thought it was good enough to show to everybody, then surely that is good enough to be in the book. And it's about that engagement. I think there's no success story here by any means, but it's a very different feeling from putting out the last book, knowing that there were people who are waiting for this book. So you're not asking people to read it in the same way. And a lot of that is just because people are lovely on Twitter, especially the people that are that I engage with a lot, that we talk to a lot, the friends that we have. That's fantastic. But I think there's also a lot more support for just, okay, you're writing a book and it looks interesting. You've got to be, and you've been quite good at this recently, Agate. You've got to be prepared to put it out there and say, look what I'm doing. Would you be interested in this? But what you've got to be really good at is going, I don't care if you're not interested at the same time, because you can't stop, you know. So that's
Ross,
a big thing.
I was going to say, whilst we're on the interest, can I hear my voice echoing? That's so weird. I'm going to carry on anyway, like a trooper. You talked about people being interested in your work, and for people watching who've never read your work, who could you compare it to, or what type of story could you compare it to? If they're out there now watching, going, "Oh, I kind of like this guy. I like the vibe of his book. It sounds okay." What would you think? Like, who would your book appeal to, basically?
Just before I do that, I'm self-employed now because I hate interviews so much. And now I feel like I'm at a job interview again. Okay, so if some people say, I'm looking at you, Hurley, that it's fair to say there are comparisons with Terry Pratchett. I think I may have moved it a little bit away from that with Get Dead, but it's definitely in the weird, silly fantasy side of things. It's supposed to be fun, but there are dark undertones to all of it. So if anything, it's darker than something like that. There's a lot of humor in there. It's quite a difficult one to make comparisons with. To be honest, it is. It's a bit out there. Thank you. But it is. It's pretty hard to compare it with anything else, and I'm quite proud of that in a way. But it makes marketing much harder. So to an extent, I think that the humor in certain aspects and certain ways that I do phrase things are a bit Discworld-esque. But the story itself is quite. Well, it's in the afterlife, so. Said before, it's got a little bit of a Tim Burton vibe to it, though nobody likes Tim Burton anymore, apparently. And Halo gets Monty Python vibes, which is really flattering. But I'm not. I don't know. It's very difficult for. I'm not very good at showing off, basically. So it's difficult for me sometimes to say it's like this, it's like that. So it's lovely when other people will say it for me.
So essentially, Terry Pratchett mixed with Monty Python, a little bit darker. So if you like those things, you'll enjoy it.
Coming from Chris Hooley in the stadium there.
I know. I'm in the stadium, guys. If you enjoy all those things, you'll like Get Dead. It's out now. You can buy it.
If you're watching this for the first time, it's not normally like this, by the way. I don't know what he's done.
Is this my fault?
I don't know. we don't point fingers on this show, Ross. Yeah, we think Deadhead's pretty unique. It says, can't wait. But do you know what? Also is quite funny. Connor's writing notes down for the podcast, and everyone's talking about the podcast that where is it gone? The podcast that Ross is going to do with Connor, whilst we're on the podcast with Ross. Come on,
and also cross-pollination of your marketing lines. That's what we'd say.
Oh, of course, yeah. We embrace all the love and glory. So you also asked, and I've got to say this, it's not a stupid question. There's no such thing as stupid questions, they say. Someone asked what was a VSS. Very short stories, because Ross was talking about that, and that's happening his promotion. I'm referring back to what you said. What I was doing with my new book at the moment, Ross, was putting the idea out there if people like this or not. That is something that I read a while back that can help gain momentum and sort of an investation. People becoming invested
when you need
your
investation.
Yeah, I think so. So it's kind of like a technique that can get people interested, waiting for it. So perhaps it's a good thing.
I definitely think so. Podcast. You definitely need the video for that, because the podcast on its own would be weird unless you were going to do a running commentary over it.
Oh my goodness, were VSS good for sales, Ross?
There are definitely good for sales is a stretch, because that would suggest that sales were good. But there are definitely a few people that follow me for my VSS only. and they know that that is about the books, and they've picked up the books because of that. I made the most complicated explanation I could have given for that. Or yes.
But to be fair, I am one of those people, because I remember seeing your short stories and thinking, oh, this is really funny. And I probably read maybe 4 or 5 of them, and then I thought, oh, I've got to pick up this guy's book. He's made me laugh quite a few times now. So it did work in that respect, yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. But yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And what I did do in this week of pre-sale is I put and I've done it before, I put my book link underneath every one that I did. I don't know if it annoys people or not. I always apologize, but then I just tend to do that all the time anyway, for putting it underneath them. And I don't know, I think that definitely got seen by a lot more people who were going to pick up the book eventually, who probably picked it up early thinking, oh, it's already here, I'll pick it up now, but who already did want it in the first place. So yeah, it definitely makes a difference, but it's quite a time investment.
Yeah,
just
because of it. And
on my face. Cage.
You have to put the goods in the window to make a sale.
That's true, Mario, but you've got to be careful, because who's going to buy the cow if you can get the milk for free?
That's a good point also. Yeah. So have you got any anyone on the comments, by the way, if you've got any marketing tips for us right now that we can share with everybody, and any suggestions, please send them in now and we'll have a quick chat about them. But Ross, is there something you're trying to do specifically different to normal to try and promote this book?
Is there something I'm trying to do different to normal?
Yeah.
The VSS things is definitely a thing. I've never done pre-sale before. I've only released one book before, and pre-sale didn't exist. But I only did it a week before. And I know that other people who I've spoken to about it and have said about it have said, you released it this long before or this long before. And I just decided against all of it, and because I didn't think that the pre-sale was going to be very big, and I didn't want to lose momentum. So I kept it very short. And I can't say whether or not that's the right thing to do or not, because I haven't got enough experience of doing these things, but it definitely worked for me. Because I think had I been doing it for longer, I think that when you've got a channel, and I've only really got one marketing channel, and that's Twitter. And I think that if you're going to flood it all the time with our books, as we tend to, if you're doing other things like I am with the VSS and stuff like that, you can turn off people who are quite interested in what you're doing in other ways. And you've got to be careful to manage that in the first place, especially if there's people who you have a good relationship with who are interested in other things that you're doing, and then they're just getting hammered over and over again with your book. And especially if it's someone who went, I got it a week ago, can you just stop posting it over and over again? I do think that what I didn't do and what I'd love to have done was probably spend a little bit of money. I'm quite lucky in that I'm quite creative and I can do little videos and stuff like that, which catch people's attention. But I think that probably doing some paid advertising or hearing a little bit more about people who've used paid advertising and had success would be quite interesting. I've only a very little amount, and I've had absolutely no success with it. It'll be really interesting to hear if anyone's had a good return of investment in that.
Ross, I tell you, I've done probably 5 ads for like Amazon and stuff like that, but I think I've only managed to get 2 actually working. For some reason, the rest don't work, and the 2 I've done have returned absolutely nothing different to what I have anyway. For me, I'm either doing it wrong or it's completely worthless for me.
It's a real skill. There's a lot to learn about it, about your keyword usage and how you actually work out your bids on adverts and stuff like that. And it's a lot to do. And I think that it's the sort of thing that would be almost worth having a little bit more money and being able to pay somebody who knows what they're doing to do it. I mean, that's why we have all these people that are paid to do search engine optimization, things like that. You can do it yourself. You're just not going to be as good at it.
So Russ, weird question, but say you got to put your book in the hands of somebody today who was going to be snapped with a copy of it and they were going to be reading it. Let's just put it out there. Who would that person be, and why would you pick that person?
Presumably they'd look happy with the book.
Yeah, let's say they're reading it and enjoying it.
That's a really hard question. Oh, in terms of just getting huge readership, you'd put it in someone like Joe Biden's hands, wouldn't you? I mean, could you imagine? But at the same time, I very much doubt that would be a very good representation of who might enjoy the book. Ricky Gervais would be awesome. Ricky Gervais was to read it. He'd be quite good, especially if he was laughing. That would be a winner. That's a really hard question. Yeah.
We've avoided all politics the last few months specifically, and now it's Ross has just brought it up. So
I haven't brought up politics. I'm just saying that if I want to put it in someone's hand, it was getting seen by a lot of people.
Imagine that though. Get Ted Dead is in his hands and he's on the podium and he goes, "I beat Trump because of this, man." Everyone just stares at your book. You have like,
read it and went, "What?"
Oh my God, what have we done?
We got a question saying, interested in who does or doesn't have an email list. I personally don't have one. Chris, do you have one?
No, only my contacts in my phone.
I don't, but I will say that I am on a few people's mailing lists, which I've joined. One person who does it really well is Victoria J. Price does hers really, really well. It's a really nice email that you get from her, which it's quite varied and there's lots of information in there, but there's some cool stuff in that. It's always quite a nice one to drop in because you get a lot of these things which you sign up to and you don't open them. I am nearing 300,000 unread emails in my Gmail box. Wow. It's old. I've had it a long time. Okay, but most of it's just because
you're going to delete them all like Chris Pratt.
Yeah, just that.
Do you know what? I can't do it. I have an email. I have to delete that email.
There has been a study recently, and I'm throwing this in your face. There's been a study recently that says it's not worth your while. That people who go through and filter and organize their inboxes are just wasting their time.
I see an email, I delete it, and that's it. I can't have a full. I don't like my e-box.
Don't even pause to read. That's worrying.
People love Victoria, by the way.
Yeah, she's
very supportive, very supportive on the right community. She's like a blonde you, Mario. Okay. Ross has so many emails because he's a spy.
If I was a spy, this would be a really bad cover. Let's be fair.
Oh, it'd be a great cover.
It's actually a rocket turret that's waiting.
Submarine.
Yeah. I'm actually in a submarine right now. Yep, that's what it is. Yeah. That's why Hooli sounds echoey.
Yeah.
I'm spy too.
And I'm in the sea.
This isn't really Diet Coke.
Man overboard.
Cool. So, I think people should know where to get this book from, Ross.
Sure, that'd be good.
You can get it from Amazon. There you go. That's where you go to get it. Or just go to my Twitter and find me there. It's a weird handle. It's @InkDisregardIt, which is a weird handle. But Chris is going to put that up on the screen, aren't you, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
While we're on, can we say happy birthday to Anna Mossacat?
Yes, we can indeed.
We can sing it if you want, or you could.
I'm not going to do that.
Nope. Is this correct?
That's almost. It is. I think that is correct. Open it. Right? Ink disregard it. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. It's easier if you put capital letters.
Oh, is the capital?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference, does it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. What is the origin story of that handle, please? Says one of the wrong week.
I, for a long time, I was a teacher. And I didn't want to have a public-facing profile in any way, so I had a handle that was ink that I used in a lot of places, and I used that on a few other writing sites, most of which don't exist anymore. And because I didn't want that to be out there, I was everybody's a teacher. And I was working in international schools, and parents were particularly keen on finding out more about these mysterious teachers that come in. So they do a lot of searching and Googling and Facebook stalking, and I'm quite paranoid about that sort of thing. So I have strange handles all over the place trying to.
You're not doing anything to make yourself sound not like a spy.
I know. I heard that as well as I was saying it. So while I was traveling internationally, not wanting people to know who I was, I didn't use my real name. So that's why that's a weird handle. And I've kept it because obviously it's confusing when people start to change their handles and stuff like that. I only started putting my face on Twitter around about February, I think.
The face that
for the same reason. As well, is this face mine?
Yeah.
If I was going to pick a face, it wouldn't be this one. Let's be fair. Okay.
That's right. The backstory to Kevin's spy roots.
Yeah.
Yes. Happy birthday to Anna. Thank you for highlighting that. And everyone saying happy birthday to you. And indeed, Anna Mosercat's birthday. She's the support of the show. I don't think she's watching right now, but we can say happy birthday to her on Twitter at least.
Oh, we could sing it.
Well, Chris, you're more than welcome to
sing it. You're desperate to sing it. Off you go.
I think we should all sing it. It's all or nothing, in my opinion.
Well, you've answered that question. So, what else are we going to say?
Chris has got a great voice. Ross has got a great voice. Like, this,
really,
this is made to be. This is the Anna Mosercat birthday tribute act.
Sing, dance, and slaughter a goat in sacrifice.
I'd be more likely to do the last one on camera.
Have you got a goat to hand?
Yeah, a handy goat that I keep here in my submarine. That. Oh no.
So it's really easy. You know the words. Happy birthday.
I've never heard the song. Why are you both? It feels like you're both looking at me because of the way the camera's set up.
We are looking at you. We're. This is called peer pressure, Ross.
Well,
come on, I get peer pressure.
Oh, because my mouth hurts. I'm trying not to smile too much.
You hum the tune if your mouth hurts. Just go. Happy birthday to you. Come on, you'll be the only one not doing it. Come on.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Wow. That was humiliating, guys. Someone please buy my book and make it worthwhile. That I just
everybody buy Ross's book. Both of them, in fact, because they're both pretty. They're pretty good. Are they on sale right now, Ross?
They're on sale today only. They're going to go back up to normal prices tomorrow. So they are. This was embarrassing that I did. They are 99 pence and 99 cents.
Wow.
Because I'm not very good at currency conversion, and one of them was the American one, and one of them was in the UK one. And I live in France, so work that out.
And in France, is 99 loaves of bread.
Is 99 cloves of garlic.
Get a signed copy for some garlic.
But yes, they are on sale only today.
Excellent. Please go out and buy that book. Both of those books together, if you have.
Yeah, and for UK only audiences, we can buy a copy of the book today, and we can gift you a copy. So yeah, if you want to win a copy of Ross's book, just get in touch with us after the show. This will be all over the place. In fact, let's do a competition. Ross, what gift should they send to you? And you can pick the best one, and then we'll send them a copy of your book.
That's easy. It has to be the Grim Reaper.
Brilliant. So if you want to win a copy of Ross's book today, send us in a gift of the Grim Reaper, and yeah, we'll let Ross pick one at random, and we'll send a copy of Ross's new book to you if you win.
Awesome.
And if you're in the UK or America, because otherwise it's a terrible nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh no. Is it that bad if you're anywhere else?
Well,
yeah, it's pretty bad.
Kinda. Take advantage of that competition. His brain is delicious.
The brain is not on offer.
It's not an offer.
It's not an offer. The brain is kept in the jar by the side of my bed where it belongs.
Next to his other face. Ross, honestly, thank you so much for coming back on. And I honestly hope this book does fantastically well and continues to get the praise it's already got. And I will be getting them. They are on my to-be read list, as well as the rest of the world's books. So they will be...
thinking jazz hands and a bit of a song. Buy it now, go and get dead right now. Buy it now.
You never tempted just to mute him?
Yeah.
But you know, the Animosi Cat song went down well, so buy it now, buy it now, go buy it right now.
They always say it's good. They keep us wanting more of this stupidity.
Yeah.
Who sing for me anytime? Says Mario.
There we go.
Sing him a
Mario
song.
approves.
I was going to make a suggestion to you. You should do a.
He says, well, maybe not anytime.
You should do a Christmas song. That's what you should do.
Oh, we had. You can send in requests for Christmas outfit for the Halloween special show. People.
That was confusing. What? You can send in
for the right price. We'll wear anything you want.
Yeah, we're doing a Christmas special show, and we were going to do Santa and an elf, but someone said about doing an elf from like Lord of the Rings or something. We're open to it.
I've seen you've been watching
definitely do the Grinch
recently. You
should definitely do the Grinch. Huli, you could do the Grinch. You could do Full Out.
Yeah, you could do that. What did you say, Huli?
You should. You've been watching a lot of The Hobbit recently.
That's because it's about
which of the Hobbit gets their chest out, the free chest.
Probably one of the elves. They're very well done, right?
I can see the bow and arrow coming in like.
It's not Hawkeye, Dodgy Eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to go all Grinch out, I reckon. Bit of green. Yeah, love that. And he's got a great voice as well, the Grinch. I could practice that. And,
he does like to sing.
He does. Buy it now. Buy it now. Go and get it right now.
You're like the lost member. Take that, aren't you?
I really am. Mark Owen's love child.
Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen,
you need to stop it.
I think we need to move on. And
you're saying this, Ross, but I guarantee when you go to bed, the last thing you'll hear tonight is buy it now, buy it now. Go and get this
terrifying
now.
Me because now I'm just going to think the last thing that happens tonight when I go to bed is I open a cupboard drawer to find you in there. Buy it now, buy it now. Stop it.
Down. The most animated Huli's been since Halloween. That is true, and there's good reason. But he's just happy
right now.
He's not today. He's just been drinking a specific drink that has certain numbers of E's in it. No,
just Diet Coke, man. Just Diet Coke.
Numbers. Anyway, we got to get the show finished because people will definitely not come back ever again. And I think Huli's got too much sugar. Please go out and buy Ross's book and let us know what you think. And please leave him a review. I'm pretty sure Mr. Huli will be doing that very soon because he's already 12% through.
12%.
Very quick.
Why?
You just had specific he was at 12%.
Only got 88% left to go. So buy it now. Buy it now.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
We're all going. Guys, look out for our new features. And if you're interested in doing this, email us. We'll sort it out.
You said you're interested in doing this and just playing it.
You're interested in doing
a different advert. I get different advert.
Oh, dear God. Yeah, from us, guys. Nice to see you.
Definitely a new way of dating. If you're interested in doing this,